What's up, guys? Carlton Flowers here with the Go Political Channel, and I wanted to get this one in today to talk about the government shutdown and some rather ridiculous statements by Hakeem Jeffries in this interview that he does on, what is it, PMSNBC, or was it Comedy News Network? I think it was CNN. And we're going to check out a couple of clips and listen to a little bit of commentary from Greg Foreman, Black Conservative Perspective, and just kind of expose a couple of things that are just hideously apparent to me that would say, of course, you're not going to be able to avoid a shutdown when you do things like this. And we get into the whole blame game. Is it the Republicans' fault or the Democrats' fault? And we get all of this back and forth crap, but we're going to reveal to you why we have government shutdowns when we check out some of these clips. But first, let's listen to Hakeem Jeffries, and then we'll listen to the Speaker of the House. We'll discuss that and then come back and expose this ridiculous statement made by Hakeem Jeffries and kind of make sense of this and cut through all of the political BS on both sides. So let's jump over. Here we are with Hakeem Jeffries. Let's hear what he has to say real quick and talk it over. Go ahead. Take it away, brother Jeffries.
4 days away from a government shutdown, and Republicans are on vacation. House Republicans on vacation cancel votes on the eve of a government shutdown. And Donald Trump is at a golf event. He doesn't have the time to meet with Democratic leaders to fund the government and address the Republican healthcare crisis. But Donald Trump, right now, as we speak, is at a golf event. It's outrageous. And why?
Okay, let's just cut in real quick. So Donald Trump is at a golf event, and we don't know why. We should be solving this government shutdown. Now, first of all, let me explain something to you, that this happens all the time. The Republicans and the Democrats do this, are both guilty, both parties, where they claim that the president is always golfing during a critical time period, as if someone can work 100% of the time and never take off. Now, I take vacations at least one time a year where I'm gone for a whole week, and then several other times where, yeah, I'm going to go play golf. I'm going to take out my wife to dinner. I'm going to go hit golf balls at the driving range. I'm going to do something to break away from my crazy schedule because I work hard. I'll put in 80 hours a week because I've got 5 different businesses, so I have to take time off. Most people, 99.9% of people, don't work 24/7, 365. They have to take time off. Every time you get a president that goes golfing, the other side will use that as leverage to try to make the point that they don't care about the American people. Now, it's not just the Democrats that do this, because when Barack Obama was president and he went golfing, the Republicans used the same method where they would troll Barack Obama, claiming that he's out playing on the golf course while the American people are suffering and we're facing a government shutdown. So then you get a change in the regime, and you see the same thing all the time. When Biden was in office and he was out eating ice cream on the beach, half out of his mind, well, the Republicans would clown him and say that he was on vacation all the time and spent more time eating ice cream on the beach than he did working in the White House. Now, it is true that Biden did have a lot more vacation time because he wasn't in a state of being where he could work like that. He was elderly, and I understand that because my mother has dementia, okay? And I think that Joe Biden has been in the early stages of dementia for a long time. I think even before he set foot in the office as president, I think he was showing signs of dementia when he was a vice president. So that was going on in reverse, and now we got the same thing coming from Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, that Trump has the nerve to be playing golf while we're about to shut down the government. Well, anyway, I wanted to make that point, but let's go on and listen to the rest of this real quick.
Are they running out of town? It's because Republicans want to shut down the government. They want to continue to inflict pain on the American people, and they want to continue to gut the health care of everyday Americans. Democrats are not going to go along.
Okay, let me break in and tell you this, that this is politics. No, Republicans don't want to gut health care. I know that there are a lot of people that are brainwashed to believe that that is the truth, but it isn't. It is an absolute and utter lie, and you're going to see why very shortly here. So let's let him continue on.
To get along.
So we've been working really hard to get the House back to the regular appropriations regular order, and we've achieved that. In the House, in a bipartisan fashion, they passed all 12 appropriations bills through the committee, 3 of them off the floor. The Senate passed 3 bills. Remember the old videos on Saturday mornings about how a bill becomes a law? If the House and the Senate disagree on an appropriation spending bill, they go to a conference committee to work it out. We voted to do that. All this is working well, but we're coming up on the end of the fiscal year, September 30th. So we need a few more weeks to finish this good work. So what we did in a responsible manner as Republicans in charge is we offered a totally clean short-term CR to get that job done. Chuck Schumer saw that. He returned a counteroffer that is filled with partisan wish lists and poison pills and demands. It includes, for example, Brett, what Chuck Schumer is arguing for. He wants to reinstate free health care for illegal aliens. He wants to add $500 million to prop up liberal media outlets. And he wants to add a massive $1.4 trillion spending hike to what should be a simple 7-week stopgap funding measure. We can't do that. We're not going to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so there you have it. Now that's the trick. And this is what they're using to make the Republicans out to be evil people that want to gut health care. When you've got Chuck Schumer that is taking advantage of the situation. So he knows that if we have a shutdown, people are going to be out of work, not getting paychecks, and critical government services are going to come to a grinding halt until they get a deal. So they do a CR. That is a continuing resolution, and it is a stopgap measure that says, okay, can we agree on this short term until we get the long-term budget figured out? But knowing that they can hold up that process, they throw in little extras because they know how important it is to get the CR passed or get the budget passed. So that's where you get Chuck Schumer throwing in health care for illegal aliens. Now, I'm sorry, but I disagree with that. I don't want my taxpayer money going towards health care for illegals, especially when we're spending money that does not exist because we're printing this money. It's counterfeit money. It's not money that is saved or gold that's in Fort Knox. No, that means that they're going to run the money printer, which increases the supply of dollar bills out in the market, right? And the more dollars that are in circulation, the prices go up because it makes demand for goods and services go up because there's more dollars out there for people to spend. So if we're going to cause inflation, which that's inevitable, our whole economy is built on the inflation model, okay? I don't want to pay higher prices in the grocery store because we're spending $500 million giving illegal aliens health care. I'm not doing that. Now, let's zip forward a little bit here and let's hear some more of what he's got to say and then the answer that comes from Greg Foreman here because this is pretty good. So let's just jump forward a little bit and check this out.
Workers that don't align with the agenda of the Trump administration. So I just want everybody to understand where we're at, okay? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
My congressional source tonight is the leader of Democrats in the House, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and it's great to have you here, sir. Obviously, today's Friday, government funding runs out midnight Tuesday. I don't have to tell you that. Is it fair to say that a government shutdown is inevitable at this point?
Well, I'm here in Washington right now, and Democrats are ready, willing, and able to sit down with anyone at any time, at any place here in Washington, D.C., in order to try to find a bipartisan agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people in terms of their health, their safety, and their economic well-being. And our position has been clear. We will not support this partisan Republican spending bill because it continues to gut the health care of the American people. We will support an agreement.
He means illegal immigrants. That's what he actually means, okay? That's what he means.
That actually provides funding to keep the government open that is negotiated in a bipartisan way. The president agreed to a meeting and then he pulled the meeting. Now he's fled town and is on the golf course at the Ryder Cup in New York. It makes no sense. They're trying to shut the government down, and Republicans, of course, control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, which is why they will clearly be blamed.
Okay, so let's just jump back here and talk about this. So, he's lying and he's exaggerating. It's hyperbole. Do you really think that Donald Trump fled town? Oh, he fled. He got scared and he fled town because he doesn't want to sit down and talk with the Democrats. Now, why wouldn't he want to sit down and talk? Well, you just heard why. It's because Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, they want to toss in an extra 1.4 trillion, I think what they said, of extra stuff that we already voted. The American public has already voted that we don't want the border invaded by illegals with 30 million illegals flooding into the country. We don't want to pay for health care for those illegal immigrants that were allowed and recruited and paid off to come into the country. We don't want that. Okay, so do you really think he is fleeing or is he ignoring them on purpose? If he already knows that they're going to come to the table and try to put these earmarks in and this extra fluff and pork and stuff that won't even be spent on us, they want to spend it on illegal aliens. Do you think that Donald Trump should waste 5 minutes of his time or even a single cup of coffee to talk to them when that's what they want to do? So like I said before, if you're going to inflate the money supply, spend it on us. Fix our roads and bridges. Help us with health care costs. Do the things that we need that are critical to infrastructure to the United States. We're in the middle of an infrastructure crisis. But no, these guys want to spend close to $1 trillion paying for things, services that the citizens won't even benefit from. So that's why you have this big kerfuffle. That's why we have to pass a CR, which is going to be hard for them to even pass a CR because these guys keep wanting to throw in crap that the American public already voted against. So you had 75 million people that voted for Donald Trump. And I know some of you did not vote for Donald Trump. You voted for Kamala. And that's okay. That's okay because maybe you believe that we should support the world, that we should bring in every country around the world, and this should be the United States of the world and not the United States of America, that we should be here held hostage, paying our taxpayer money to provide food and health care for everyone around the world before we fix the problems for our own citizens. For me, being a foundational Black American, I'm saying, hey, when are you going to try to shove in a little bit of a pork barrel spending is what they call it, or throwing an earmark for the Black community? When are you going to throw in $1 trillion for reparations for the Black community? You're not going to do that. But you want to throw in $1 trillion for illegals while you just shove our citizens to the side, while you just shove the Black community to the side. We've been waiting for 400 years for this kind of thing. Well, 250 years. But then you're going to want to spend that kind of money on people that didn't even build this country, people that don't even work hard in this country, and that we're supposed to have sympathy for government workers that won't get a paycheck? You're not getting any sympathy from me because I work harder than all of you. I don't depend on a government check. I'm self-sustained. I only get checks when I am doing work. So there's no violins being played on my part, feeling sorry for the people that live off of the government welfare check system, also known as federal jobs, state jobs. I have no sympathy for you because I don't get any of that money. You want to give me a paycheck for $5,000-$10,000 every month from the government or from the state, then maybe I'll listen to you. But until I get to have a chunk of that free printed money, that illegitimate money, counterfeit money, you're not going to get any sympathy from me. Everybody thinks they're entitled, and they think that we're all supposed to get this slice of the government's illegitimate money supply that is printed out of thin air. And then we forget that the way that this nation was built was on hard work, doing actual services, building, manufacturing, services, okay, infrastructure. It wasn't built on government workers that sit in offices on telephones over-regulating the people who do the actual work. So what are your thoughts on that? I do have friends that still work for the government. I still have lots of former co-workers that work for the state. I've got friends that work for the Postal Service. I have friends that are in Washington, D.C. And yeah, I do feel bad if they're not going to get a paycheck. That's hard. But I encourage them to leave. Go start a business and stop depending on the government. Who wants to be held hostage by the government and have to go through this year after year? I certainly don't. Share your thoughts with me. Do you have sympathy for the government workers that are going to be held hostage by the CR? And let me know, whose fault is it going to be if we get a government shutdown? And should the president and the Republicans capitulate? Should they bend over and then allow Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries to throw a good $500 million in for free health care for illegal immigrants in order to pass the budget bill? Let me know. Hit the like button, tick the notification bell, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and share this video with your friends so we can rebuild this thing from the ground up with the real audience. But shout out to all my good people, especially the members. And I'm going to be doing member-only content starting this weekend. That's right, for my Ride or Dies, just to show you how much I appreciate you. That's all I got for this one. This is Carlton. I'm out.